PRASA could answer for in this sitting today? I mean, from VBS to the burning of trains, to not spending its capital for the year, its allocated capital for the year. What do you reckon will be the focus, I suppose, of today's sitting?
That's right. PRASA would want to stick to its scheduled agenda to discuss its annual report. Remember, last week, the Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa was here before Parliament's Transport Committee, and during that meeting, there were reports of 2 trains being set alight at the nearby Cape Town station. At that meeting, PRASA said that over the last 3 years, PRASA had lost about 780 million rand over the last 3 years in damages to trains and train stations being satellites. I'm sure they would want to focus on its own internal organization and the problems facing there, but also with the release of the South African Reserve Bank report into the VBS Bank, also allegations or insinuations there that PRASA had intended to make a 1 billion rand investment in the VBS Bank. If you can remember, in February last year, the lobby group Unite Behind, which is advocating for better train and train services around the country, they then put out a statement questioning the reports of this alleged 1 billion rand investment into VBS by PRASA, already with the situation of the Passenger Rail Agency being so undercapitalized, unable to spend its own budget, and also the situation it's facing with the slow reintegration of train and train services. A lot of questions expected from MPs here today, expected to grill PRASA officials as they meet in the room here behind me in a short while's time.
Lester, before we let you go into that briefing, which starts at 9:30 this morning, the Portfolio Committee on Transport, during a previous sitting, as you say, mentioning the safety of commuters as at the top of the agenda. I mean, that committee at the time giving PRASA until the end of November, the end of next month, to shape up. Is that a viable deadline?
But I think the problems at PRASA are so ingrained that we would probably need a revitalization of the whole train network. PRASA saying last week, in all but saying that the rail commuter network is at a near collapse. They've said that that rail commuter numbers have dropped by almost 50% over the last few years. So there's already less people taking trains, which means they're getting less fares. They're looking at mass vandalization of train lines, train sets, and also of cabling networks around the country, also affecting the rail network. And we look at how important rail networks are, not only in Cape Town, but around the country. Many people struggling to get to work because of late or cancelled trains. This desperately affecting South Africa's economy. But just listen to this number again, more than 780 million rand in damages experienced by PRASA over the last 3 years due to those train sets set on fire. Last week we spoke to the Transport Minister, Bladen Zimande, asking him if there's somewhat a conspiracy or a concerted effort to set these trains alight, and he does agree with that assumption, saying that there does appear to be a coordinated effort to sabotage trains and PRASA, and this is something that he's called on not only for police intelligence but also the state security agency to look at who is behind these trains attacks. He's stopped just short on whether this is a threat to national security, saying that he wouldn't go as far, saying that there is a threat to national security, but it does desperately impact on South Africa's economy by getting people to and from work, and also looking at the broader issue. Does anyone stand to benefit from the burning of trains? In fact, then when you look at PRASA having to reorder, retender many train sets to replace those that have already been damaged.
Yeah, I can see things are hotting up there behind you as MPs start to make their way into that sitting. We'll let you go, Lester Kivitt. Live to us there from Parliament. That's a